want to pronounce it correctly. Locazel. Broadcasting under my real name, Jeremy Monjar. Monjar is better than Jeremy because I just answer to it more. This is a live stream. Okay, so here's how it all began. Alright? This is the 10th of October, alright? And I've already pre-ordered Black Ops 4. Fully paid for. Got it ready to come out the next day at 8 o'clock. And I'm hype. I'm hype. Absolutely hype. For Black Ops 4. You know, because I didn't want to get Black Ops 4 originally. I had got Black Ops 1. Got 2 maps. Was great. Glorious. Then I bought Black Ops 2. Did you feel the weight of that pause? I got 1 map. 1. You understand, after Black Ops 1, I didn't play the campaign. I never played multiplayer. I only played zombies. So one map, and some would argue, oh yeah, there were 5 maps because you had town and metro and diner and farm. No, those were all individual sliced up pieces of transit. It was all the one map, just given to you in a different dosage. I don't know why you would even play any of them besides town. I only play town because people seem to like town, but honestly, why not just play transit? That way if you get tired of town, you can switch to metro. Or fucking, you know what I mean? Like, so they gave me 1 map. Then I buy Black Ops 3. Again. Bought the game. $60-something. Only to play zombies. And I got what? 1 map. Shadows of Evil. And that's not even the kicker. They had kind of taken some elements of Extinction from, or whatever it was called, from Ghost, and added them. And you know, if you're gonna diverge, you need more than 1 map. You need a tone setter map like that, but you also need a map to show that it's not really a different zombies. You know what I mean? Black Ops 3 should have came with Giant and Shadows. So I had gotten tired of just getting 1 map. But people convinced me there would be 3 maps, and sure enough there were. But that's getting lost in the weeds. Anyways, so it's the day before Black Ops 4 is about to come out. And I have never bought a game, I don't think, in my life on release date. Ever. I think maybe once in the army. But so the day before Black Ops 4 was set to come out, I was looking on YouTube for Black Ops 4 zombies shit, just videos and pre-info and shit that like Mr. Ruffle Waffles was gonna throw our way with the inside hook. And I seen a Fallout 76 video, and I'm like, Fallout's my favorite game series, but when they told me in in the store one day about Fallout 76. I was like, oh, Fallout multiplayer. I always wanted it, but after seeing Elder Scrolls Online, I was like, no. Don't ever do it, Fallout, unless you're gonna get it right. And wow, Fallout 76, after I watched that video, I was hooked. I've done nothing but watch Greenbriar footage for like a week. I'm fucking excited as hell. I've already pre-ordered my Tricentennial Edition. I am ready to go for Fallout 76. I will be live broadcasting day one of beta, if they let me into beta. I still gotta look into that shit. They should, because your boy is very good at Fallout. I love Fallout. They haven't made a bad one. I own all but the second one on Steam. I just have Fallout 4 on my PS4. But, yeah, Fallout is my shit. It's my favorite game series. I started with Morrowind in the Army, and at some point, I think it was like 2010, it might have been 2011, I was in a store, and I was like looking, and I was just looking around at games, and dude's like, what are you looking for? And I'm like, well, my favorite game series is Elder Scrolls. And he's like, well, there's this other game that they make called Fallout that's just like Elder Scrolls, but it's in the future. And I'm like, I should have wore my white pants today. You know what I'm saying? Oh my god. So I bought Fallout New Vegas. And I started playing Fallout New Vegas, and it was awesome. It was just fucking fabulous. And I played a little bit of that, and I started like looking up online, and then I heard that Fallout 3 was set in DC. And when I was in the Army, I was stationed in DC, so I was like, oh no, I gotta go out and get that and play that first. That's supposed to come before New Vegas anyway, so even though in the end I learned that the two stories are absolutely not connected at all. So anyways, I started watching Fallout 76 videos, and you know, while I still see a tiny hint of ESO in there, the things that are there that are ESO, I think might actually work in the Fallout setting. It's hard to describe what was wrong with ESO. I mean, I liked it, I've played it, I love it to an extent because it is an Elder Scrolls, and unless you're lying to yourself, it does play to a certain extent like an Elder Scrolls. It's just that the level of detail in the locations fell a little flat. Like Morrowind itself, you could run across. Oh shit, we got a guy at work that talks like that, and I imitate him, and so every once in a while it'll pop out and I'll do a quas. No, you could run across Morrowind in like 20 minutes. I'm not even playing, like, not the actual Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. I'm talking about ESO. You could run across Morrowind in 20 minutes, and most of it was flat and uninteresting, and there was some nostalgia, but not quite enough. You know what I mean? Like, it fell flat to me at a certain level, and then it was too big. I think the no NPCs thing might actually work out for this, but we'll get into that later. But to finish my story, I was so hyped for Black Ops 4, and then I watched that one little video about Fallout 76, and it was almost like Fallout or Black Ops 4 became an afterthought. You know what I mean? It became an afterthought. I watched people play, and it was upsetting because none of them seemed to be as skilled as I am at Fallout and understanding what's happening. It's very similar to Fallout 4. If you're very versed, I mean, I'm talking really versed in Fallout 4, you should have absolutely no problem with Fallout 76. I'm talking, there were things people weren't doing, and I'm sure it was the time thing. You got 3 hours. I saw a lot of videos where people seemed kind of herky-jerky, like, you know, it would almost appear like they didn't know what was going on, but to me, I understand that they were just feeling the crush of the time, and it's like, I want to do everything, but I got to focus on one, but I want to do everything, you know what I mean? Like, what fucking character is this? I got a bunch of them. He's got a minigun. Jeremy. Oh, okay. This is my son's character. He named it after me. He's an odd sort, but I love him. We'll go to Hardcore Hank. Hardcore Hank's kind of broken because I didn't know. You know, I had the guide for most of the game, but when I bought the expansions, and on PS4 I only own 2 of them. On Steam I got them all. I just don't happen to have a PC right now. But Hardcore Hank was I wanted to do a what's the word? Preston Garvey. What's his faction? I can't think of him right now. The Minutemen. Hardcore Hank was a Minuteman character, but before I finished the main quest, I was like, you know what? Before I finish the main quest, I'm gonna pop over and do Nuka World expansion. Get all the great shit that I'm gonna get in that expansion, the great gear, and come back and just murk the main quest. Well, what ended up happening is I didn't know that when I took a settlement for the raiders in the Commonwealth, Preston is just done with you, and there's no way to repair it. So I'm kind of stuck with Hardcore Hank. I can still go do the railroad and shit, but it just makes me mad that I invested so much into the Minutemen. Kolshan soon. Look at all the Hardcore Hank. Zappas of the Demon? Oh, I gotta do it. Alright, anyways, back to back to Fallout 76. First one of my questions is, there's no NPCs. There are visible signs of recent human activity and that doesn't link with the fact that it seems that everyone statewide has vanished. within a matter of years, or in some cases, it seems even days of Reclamation Day. Did they all evacuate the area? Did some external faction enter West Virginia, exterminate them, and then also evacuate the area? Did the scorched beast spread the disease that created the scorched plague, and all the humans have succumbed and become scorched? Or did the scorch kill them all? Or is it a combination of the last two questions? I mean, what happened to all the NPCs? Because there are signs of life recently. I mean, what's going to go on with the servers, you know? Are you permanently assigned a server? What if nobody's on? Can you A, play solo till others get on, which would be awesome, or B, get phased to a more populated server? And that's gonna be important when it comes to one of my next questions later on. Like, the best choice, the best answer I could come up with is it's a choice, you know. You get a little prompt that says, hey, you're the only one on your server. Would you like to switch to a more populated server? Or stay in solo? You know what I mean? It should be your choice. I mean, and then will there be guilds, clans, factions, gangs, players can create, you know? I mean, because that makes a new dynamic of possibilities for what we might see down the line in this world. I mean, we're talking like a mixture of Ultima Online and Fallout. And that's where the question earlier comes back in, like, will camps remain when a player logs out or switch servers? I mean, remain in the place that they were. I'm sure if you switch servers, they probably can't, because there might be another camp right there over top of it. The odds are rare, but there are there. But if you switch servers, you know, if you're not switching servers, will your camp remain in the same place it is? That's an important question. Because if a bunch of camps, and if we have factions and gangs and all that, if you get a bunch of camps placed near each other, we're going to have settlements that never existed on Greenbriar. We're talking 8 people building up their faction, their little clan camps. Each person has a camp and they build up their little section of their town. We're talking whole settlements that are just going to pop up in West Virginia on Fallout 76. Do you guys see the potential? Are they going to allow us to have vendor bots? I mean, like, the landscape can totally change and that's what's beautiful about no NPCs. And just everybody that comes out of 76 on Reclamation Day, or however many days it takes them to wake from the hangover. Some of them are going to be in comas if they buy the game late enough. We're the settlers. We're going to create the settlements. You know what I mean? Everybody else, all the survivors have been wiped out by the Scorch. That's my prediction. And here's where I'm going to get into my predictions. Now this guy. That's it. I got into the talking and not the walking. So we're going to go to Hardcore Hank. Because he's action. He'll jump right in. Like, Sanctuary was not catching me. I'm predicting right now that part of the main quest, or a quest you find, or a quest that you will find along the way, is to find both a cure for the Scorch Plague, as well as eradicate both the Scorched and the Scorched Beasts. And that would explain why they wouldn't be in any of the other games, which happened later in the timeline, you know. I mean, one thing I'm glad they brought back, I hated Oblivion for one single reason above all others. There were many reasons, but this one reason is you could not equip robes over armor like you could in Morrowind. So I'm glad they brought that back. I personally like the VATS because in Fallout 3, New Vegas 4, when you first start the game, assuming you don't put like a ton of perception and agility points in, your percentages weren't great when you first start the game. I would prefer that they make it so that you lock onto the target. I mean, I kind of didn't like seeing people that were aiming six feet to the right and shooting, hitting the target. You know, that was kind of not cool. As far as, you know, Brotherhood of Steel, it is feasible that the Brotherhood of Steel, even though in Isolation and Cali, we're already sending small scout groups east in search of pre-war tech. I believe in Fallout 3 there are references to scouting expeditions to DC predating Lion's factions and the Exiles' arrival. As far as the Vertibots, it is far more likely that they belong to the Enclave or just pre-war holdovers still operating their last parameters, just like a Mr. Handy would. We know the Master created the Super Mutants in the West and the Vault where you get the Gek. Well, I mean, in the West, the Master created them. But in the Vault, where you get the Gek in Fallout 3, they were also creating them. And if you read the story of Swan in Fallout 4, they were creating them in Boston, so it's feasible that they could also be creating them somewhere near West Virginia. There's, I mean, Vault Tech University's there. And I really think that Vault 76 may be the first anywhere to open or survivors who didn't enter a vault. And the only reason they were able to survive is because West Virginia itself wasn't hit very hard with the bombs. And that would be why the landscape doesn't look like Boston's here. You know what I mean? If you watch the video, the Greenbriar footage, when people exited the vault, they were in the little hilly forest area, and it wasn't like this. There were actual trees and good shit going on. But, you know, what's there to hit tactically in West Virginia besides Greenbriar? Which is very hard to hit because of all the mountains. Anyways, that's my stream, and I will catch up with y'all later. Got one guy watching.